One of the most gut-wrenching and emotional scenes in the Masters of the Air series so far was when pilot Curt Biddick's plane crashed and killed him along with his co-pilot. Outside of the highly questionable CGI in the crash, many people have pointed out that history tells a different story of the demise of Curt and his aircraft. Let's go through the historical details, missing aircrew reports, and the individual casualty questionnaires to piece together what really happened. Would the actual details be more dramatic than what transpired on TV? Stay tuned to find out. Let's start with what we know. Curtis Biddick was the pilot. Richard Snyder was the co-pilot. John Dennis, the navigator. Dan McKay, the bombardier. Robert DeKay, radio operator. Lawrence Godbey was the flight engineer. Walter Halunka was in the ball turret. Clarence Bowlen and Howard Brock were the waist gunners, and William Blank was the tail gunner. The aircraft they were flying was named the Escape Kit, and this was not Curt's normal flight crew, as William Flesch was on leave, so he took his place. As the show portrayed, the mission was to Regensburg, their deepest foray into Germany thus far, to bomb the aircraft manufacturing plants located in the city. This was a three-pronged attack, which was instantly thrown off as the other two elements that were to attack the ball-bearing plants in Schweinfurt were delayed due to weather, cloud cover, and questionable decision-making. Flak, of course, was experienced when they entered mainland Europe airspace over Belgium and Germany. However, as we saw, it was the enemy fighters that will cause the most damage and destruction on the day. Providing additional protection to the inbound bombers were two groups of American P-47 Thunderbolt fighters. However, of the two groups of P-47s tasked to escort the force to the German border, only one arrived at the rendezvous point on time, and both P-47 groups were forced to turn back to base after only 15 minutes of escort duty without engaging any German interceptors. FW-190s and BF-109s had unprotected targets for the near 200 miles the Americans were located over Germany. Wave after wave of German fighters attacked the bombers. Multiple reports and accounts state that about 40 miles northwest of the target near Nuremberg, Biddick's aircraft is hit by a 20mm cannon on the front, right side of the fuselage under the co-pilot's window. The shell hit the oxygen tanks, causing an explosion and massive fire, which trapped Biddick, Snyder, DeKay, and Godbey into the flight deck. Dan McKay states that Godbey was surrounded by the fire and may have even been hit by the cannon fire. John Dennis recalls the intense fire wounding Godbey and trapping Biddick. Co-pilot Snyder, sliding through a hole on the side of the aircraft, was able to escape, and then standing on the wing, reached back to grab his parachute. Here the stories differ on whether Snyder was able to deploy his chute or not. Crew members like Howard Brock state that no chute was seen to open. Yet crews from the other aircraft, like Owen Roan, state a chute did open. Either way, most reports do agree that he hit the stabilizer on the aircraft and died from that impact. We also know that he was later found in his harness. What tremendous bravery and courage to do all he can to stay alive.
He's not gonna make it. We gotta get out. Pilots and crew, bail out.
Reports from the crew members say that Howard Brock and William Blank was able to bail out from the tail, Walter Halunka and Clarence Bowlen from the waist, John Dennis and Dan McKay from the nose escape hatch, all becoming prisoners of war. Dennis and McKay were badly burned due to their proximity to the oxygen fire. What happens to Curtis Biddick, Robert DeKay, Lawrence Godbey, and the aircraft does differ depending on first-hand accounts, both from the surviving crew members as well as observing aircraft in the sky. Here we have reports from the crew that bailed out stating ship exploded before crashing, explosions, and saw the ship blow. However, we also have reports of Biddick fighting to keep the plane level and striking the ground near a small village, in which did not explode until hitting the ground. Either way, we know the ship was ablaze, and Biddick, DeKay, and Godbey were trapped on the plane. So there you have it, the real story of how Curt Biddick died and the fates of the rest of the Escape Kit crew. Why do you think the show chose the story and the details they did? Thanks for tuning in to Masters of the Air Insider. Make sure to like and subscribe for more stories behind the stories from Masters of the Air.